You know that feeling when you're watching a movie and the music gets all dramatic and you know something bad is about to happen? Yeah, well, welcome to March 2026. Except this isn't a movie. This is your bank account, your retirement fund, your entire financial future. And the countdown clock? It just hit 90 days. Look, I'm not here to sell you gold bars or tell you to move to a bunker in Montana, but there's a very real, very boring piece of legislation that's about to explode like a financial grenade in exactly 3 months. And somehow, almost nobody is talking about it. It's called the debt ceiling. Again. But this time it's different. Let me explain why you should actually care. Imagine you have a credit card. You love this credit card. You use it for everything. Groceries, Netflix, that random 3 a.m. purchase you definitely didn't need. Now imagine that you get to decide your own credit limit. Sounds amazing, right? You just keep raising it forever. Well, congratulations. You just described the United States government. The debt ceiling is basically Congress saying, okay, we can borrow this much money and no more, except every time they hit that limit, they just raise it. It's like telling yourself you'll only eat 3 cookies, then eating the whole box, then buying another box and saying, okay, but this is definitely the last box. We've raised the debt ceiling 78 times since 1960. 78 times. At this point, calling it a ceiling is like calling the ocean a large puddle. Here's the kicker. The U.S. is now adding $1 trillion in new debt every 100 days. That means by the time you finish listening to this, we've added another $8 million to the national debt. By the time you finish your morning coffee tomorrow, another $3 billion. But here's where it gets spacey. On June 1st, 2026, the current suspension ends. And right now, the U.S. debt is sitting at $36 trillion. That's trillion with a T. That's 12 zeros. That's more money than exists in most people's imagination. To put that in perspective, if you spent $1 million every single day since Jesus was born, you still wouldn't have spent $1 trillion. We owe 36 of those. But wait, you're saying, they always figure it out. They'll just raise it again. And you're probably right.
Probably. But here's why this time has everyone in finance sweating like they're in a sauna wearing a winter coat. First, interest rates are still elevated. The government is now spending more on interest payments than on national defense. Let that sink in. We're paying more to service our debt than we spend on the entire military. It's like paying more in credit card interest than you spend on rent. In 2024, we paid over $880 billion just in interest. That's more than we spend on Medicare, and it's only going up. By 2030, interest payments could hit $1.4 trillion annually. That's money that could have gone to infrastructure, education, or literally anything else, just vanishing into the void. Second, political gridlock is at an all-time high. We're in an election aftermath year with a divided Congress that can't agree on what day it is, let alone on adding trillions to the national credit card. Third, the bond market is getting nervous, and when bond markets get nervous, bad things happen. Remember 2008? Yeah, nobody wants a sequel to that disaster movie. Fourth, other countries are watching. China, Japan, and other major holders of U.S. debt are starting to ask uncomfortable questions. It's like when your friends start wondering if you're ever going to pay them back for all those dinners.
So, what actually happens if Congress doesn't raise the debt ceiling? Let's break down the ugly truth. Picture 3 doors, and behind each one is a different kind of disaster. Door number 1. The Treasury Department pulls out every accounting trick in the book. They call them extraordinary measures, which is just government speak for raiding the couch cushions for spare change. This might buy us a few extra weeks, maybe a couple of months, but it's a temporary fix. Eventually, the couch cushions are empty. Then there's door number 2. The U.S. defaults on its debt. This has never, ever happened in American history. It would be like the captain of the Titanic seeing the iceberg and saying, yeah, let's hit that on purpose. Global markets would absolutely panic. The dollar, it tanks. Interest rates would skyrocket. Your mortgage, your car loan, your credit cards, everything, and I mean everything, gets more expensive, practically overnight. And finally, door number 3. The government just shuts down. Social Security checks stop coming, federal employees don't get paid, national parks closed for business. It's like putting the entire country on pause, except your bills, your rent, your mortgage, they don't pause with it. So yeah, none of these options are good. It's like being asked to choose between getting food poisoning, a nasty flu, or a root canal with no anesthesia. There is no winning move here. All right, I can hear you thinking, okay, that sounds bad for the government, but what does it really mean for me? And that's the most important question. Well, if you have a 401k or any kind of retirement account, get ready to watch it drop like a stone. Just look back at the 2011 debt ceiling crisis. The market fell 17% in just a few weeks. And that was just the threat of a default. An actual default would be so much worse. Thinking of buying a house? Mortgage rates could jump 1, maybe 2% overnight. That turns a $400,000 house into an extra $300 a month in payments. Over 30 years, that's over $100,000 straight out of your pocket. Gone. And if you have student loans or credit card debt, those interest rates are going up. That's why they're called variable rates. They vary, and not in your favor. For anyone retired, living on Social Security, those checks could be delayed. Imagine trying to explain to your landlord, sorry, the government's just having a moment right now. It's not a conversation anyone wants to have.
And even if you have no investments, no debt, no mortgage, you're not safe. As the dollar weakens, inflation could spike. Your groceries, your gas, everything you buy gets more expensive. Now, after all that doom and gloom, here's the silver lining, or at least the slightly less dark cloud. This probably won't end in a complete Mad Max-style catastrophe. Why? Because politicians are masters of one thing, waiting until the absolute last second, freaking out, and then doing the bare minimum to avoid driving off the cliff. It's like they're all cramming for a final exam at 3 a.m. the night before. It's not a good look, but somehow they usually squeak by. But here's the key. Probably isn't a financial strategy. You cannot bet your life savings on probably. So what can you actually do? First, and most importantly, do not panic sell. Don't liquidate your portfolio out of fear. That is how you lock in losses. Stay calm. Second, check your emergency fund. You need 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up. If you don't have this, start building it. Now, today. Third, diversify. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. You need a mix. Stocks, bonds, maybe some international exposure, and yes, even just cash on hand. Fourth, if you have variable rate debt, look into refinancing to a fixed rate. Lock it in before things get volatile. And fifth, stay informed. Follow the news from reliable sources. Knowledge is power, and in this environment, ignorance is incredibly expensive. Look, I'm not here to tell you the sky is falling, but I am telling you there's a very real chance of some serious turbulence ahead. This whole thing is a high-stakes game of financial chicken, and we are all passengers in the car, whether we like it or not. So, will Congress figure it out? Probably. Will there be a ton of drama and market swings? Absolutely. And most importantly, should you prepare? Yes, 1,000 times yes. We're on the clock. Use this time wisely. Prepare for the drama, but protect yourself from the fallout. The decisions you make right now are the ones that will matter most. Be prepared and stay safe out there.